Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Peace and blessings and love. Being is power. How you doing today? Are you ready to leave the master's house? Are you ready to get out of the system and let the system destroy itself? Or do you want to stay in the master's house and let the masters manipulate you and manipulate your mind and manipulate your time more for your comfort zone? Some questions that we just have to ask ourselves today. Are we ready to build our own house? Or are we willing to stay in the master's house and rely on the system rather than building our own house and being self-sufficient, building up self-worth, being self-government, cycling self-love for ourselves? These are crucial, and this is what we need to ask ourselves on a daily basis if we are still in the master's house. I call the master's house a system because it is very, very manipulative, and it's comparing. I can compare it to just like in physical slavery days, where people did not want to leave the plantation of a physical slave in physical slavery because they had not organized themselves strategically, spiritually, or energetically to be self-sufficient or to know self-worth or to be self-government and to cycle self-love. And when you don't actually put that reality into play for your being, then the powerlessness of it all becomes your reality. So we understand that in the system that they had structured most of everyone that was in on the plantation to live in a certain emotional structure. That emotional structure had a foundation that most of us who were on the bottom and the builders of that foundation did not want to break. And we had no idea of where we would go when the system would be broken down. So psychologically, the system was never broken down. It was just taken to another phase. Once again, we got to remember that we are three-dimensional beings. As three-dimensional beings, we have to look in ourselves and meditate for the wholeness of it all. Meditate to be whole again. And then we can actually pray, and that prayer removes anything that's in our way that's blocking us from our victory. So not having that power upon us, we basically just fell for the okie doke. When you look at it, we fell for the okie doke of the system and wanted to remain in the houses. And most other people that was in physical slavery at that time actually had to be removed from the plantations by the army. When you go back to history, they were removed because they really didn't understand where they had to, and they didn't have anywhere to go because the system the system was just being played out anyway. It's just that, it was in a physical sense of how they would manipulate us at that time and write the manipulation of the story so it could be pushed on the public, the American public, or the global public, as, oh, look what we did for these people, which was still falsehood and bullying, because there was no strategic. It was not like they planned on helping the physical slave. That was a lie. And it's always been a lie in history. That's why these people had nowhere to go. And there was nothing set up for them to go, because it was a lie. The war was based on economics and how to build power and who had the power in the system. It was never about the slave or the physical slave. It was out who had the power to enslave all. That means white, black, Hispanic, and Chinese Americans, Indian American in the system. Who had the power to enslave all mentally? That's what the Civil War was about, and who would take it to the next level, and who would be in charge of to enforce that reality upon the American public, and who got the good name. See, the North got the good name, even though they were part and are still a part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? So we're like, oh, let's go north. There was no freedom in the North for blacks who moved from the South. They still had to find racism as a problem when they got to the North. It wasn't like it was a beautiful thing. It wasn't heaven on earth in the North for black people when they moved from the South to the North. But the lie was there. The lie was there. Yeah. The misconception was promoted. And how did that misconception get all the way down to those people in the South? The media. The media. The same thing that goes on today. It's all the master's house. And the media is the number one promoter of the master's house. And when we fall for the okie doke of the emotional stories that the media is putting out for you to be distracted from you building up your self-sufficiency, your self-worth, your self-government, and your self-love, when you fall for that okie doke, you're going to be powerless for another generation if you're not seeking or being in the truth. And that is the truth. Build your own house. Build your own house. That's the way to go in this time and age, because the system must be destroyed. I know you have been part of an emotional structure. We all have. And thinking that we can't remove ourselves from this system, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's the distraction and the emotional structure and the commitment of those who wish to deceive you and have you powerless in its playing game. So I advise you today, do not go for any emotion, no more emotional stories from the media. Everybody's coming out with the game. The game is being played on your mind. Beware, be cautious, and be not deceived. And being is power. Today is the day. How long? Not long. We shall remove ourselves from this system. Peace.